Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be comparing iOS 17.1.2 versus iOS 17.2. Now the current release is 17.1.2 to the general public as of the filming of this video, but earlier this week Apple released iOS 17.2 RC, the release candidate, which should be made available to you, the public, in the next couple of days, maybe less than a week or so. So before you update, I wanted to compare the current release 17.1.2 versus the final RC 17.2 expected soon to see how things are going in terms of battery performance, Wi-Fi performance, keyboard, see if Apple fixed any of those keyboard issues, and much more. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the keyboard. As most of you guys already know, iOS 17 has been plagued with keyboard issues ever since the initial release of the software. However, with iOS 17.2 betas, I did encounter a few issues, but with the RC, which is basically the release candidate, official release coming soon, I haven't encountered any issues in terms of lag. I haven't encountered any issues when it comes to the keyboard popping up. I haven't encountered any delays on the keyboard, so that's good news. Again, with betas on iOS 17.2, I did encounter a few issues, but after testing iOS 17.2 RC, I'm happy to report that a lot of those keyboard lags and issues have disappeared from my iPhone, which I'm extremely happy to report. Hopefully, this means that iOS 17.2 will finally get rid of a lot of the keyboard issues based on my testing, typing, and everything like that is also very snappy, very responsive. I haven't noticed any lag. So yeah, keyboard issues appear to be improved and fixed within iOS 17.2. Okay, so now I want to shift my attention over to Wi-Fi. As you may or may not know, Wi-Fi performance continues to be an issue for iPhone users, some iPhone users on iOS 17. Now, Apple has mentioned that iOS 17.2 should include a patch to address poor Wi-Fi performance on the iPhone. So we're going to put that to the test, obviously. Let's jump into settings. Let's make sure that we are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. And yes, there it is. And let's start the test on 17.1.2 first, and then we'll do the upcoming 17.2 where Apple mentions there's a patch. So let's take a look at the download speeds here, and keep in mind this network is capable of about 400 megabytes down tops and about 40 up. So we're quickly approaching 280 here with iOS 17.1.2, so 279 on the download side. Now when it comes to uploads here, we're approaching 30, maybe even 35 when it comes to uploads here, or maybe even higher than that. As you can see right there, 39 at this point. So 39.3, almost peak performance on the upload side, and 279 on the download side. So those numbers are looking pretty good. So now let's go ahead and shift our attention over to iOS 17.2, where Apple mentions there should be a patch in place to address some of these poor Wi-Fi connections on the iPhone. So let's go ahead and run the download side first. Of course, here we're approaching 230, 240, maybe 50. So these numbers are looking okay here. So 250 on the download side, 251. And when it comes to uploads, it looks like we're quickly climbing, or we're dropping here. We were climbing there, but now we're dropping and now climbing again to about 25, 27, maybe 30, maybe even 35. We'll reach 35, 36, 36.8. So when it comes to download speeds and upload speeds, iOS 17.1.2 outperformed 17.2. And now I've ran multiple tests before this video, and almost every single time you can freeze the video here and take a look at the numbers for downloads and uploads. iOS 17.1.2 outperformed 17.2 almost in every single test. So unfortunately, 17.2 does not address Wi-Fi issues. 17.1.2 outperforming on basically every single test. Now I want to shift my attention over to CPU performance. So we have Geekbench 6 here, and we want to run the performance here of the CPU. We're going to start the test at 1, 2, 3, and we're going to come back to see which device performed better and which device is doing a lot better in terms of performance when it comes to CPU. iOS 17.1.2 on the left again, and 17.2 on the right. Let's go ahead and wait for the results. Okay, so the test is completed. As you can see right here, in terms of single core score, iOS 17.1.2 with 2,930 2,936 versus 2,962 on 17.2, as you can see right there. So a slight improvement in performance for the single core score on the iPhone 15 Pro Max here, and on the multi-core score, 7,355 for iOS 17.1.2 versus 7,398 on 17.2. So a slight performance gain, not too much here on iOS 17.2, but 17.1.2 also performing relatively well. These numbers look pretty good on both sides, but yeah, slight improvement on performance on 17.2. Now let's talk about the battery, because a lot of you guys, of course, want to know about the battery. And I did test the battery for over 24 hours and sometimes even longer on both of these devices. And as you can see right here, for our last testing here, we see that the battery started at about 70%, and then it gradually started going down. And as you can see right here, the same apps were used, the same testing, as you can see right there. And it looks like the battery is close to identical. On 17.1.2, you may see maybe an additional 10 to 15 minutes of on-screen time, but based on my testing, you can see 7 hours and 18 minutes versus 7 hours and 6 minutes. So your situation may vary depending on how you use your device. So in terms of battery, we don't see any major or drastic differences here from iOS 17.1.2 versus 17.2. And that about brings it into this video. There you guys have it. Now, when will iOS 17.2 be released? Well, if history is any indication, we could see iOS 17.2 released to the general public on the week of the 11th of November. So the 11th, 12th, anytime during that week, we could see Apple release 17.2 to everyone worldwide. Now, should you update from iOS 17.1.2 to iOS 17.2? Well, in terms of keyboard, iOS 17.2 performs slightly better. When it comes to Wi-Fi, poor Wi-Fi connections still persist on 17.2. As you just saw from my testing, 9 out of 10 times 17.1.2 outperformed 17.2 in the Wi-Fi department, as you just saw again. When it comes to battery and CPU performance, things are pretty much identical. So just keep in mind, of course, the software will bring a lot of new features. I wanted to get this video out there for you guys before the release of 17.2 here in the next couple of days. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.